Rocío, here we are again. Really excited to be back and with you in this space. How are you?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here again. Excited that we're together and sharing experiences one more time.
Yeah, I'm. I feel a little bit more strange. I feel a little bit more seasoned. One show in, like I've done it before. This is not the first time now.
Yeah, it's getting better. It's getting easier.
Last time felt a bit weird. This time I feel like, okay, it's not so weird anymore. I've done it once.
Cool. It's gonna get better every time.
That's right. That's right. So today, Rothia, we're going to share your story, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to learn more. I know a little bit already, but I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about your story and about where you've come from, and where you are and how you got there. You mentioned in last week's show that your journey really began with your parents. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Right. Yeah. I'm happy to share my story and my parents' story a little bit with you guys. I mentioned before that my mom is originally from Nicaragua, and she moved to Costa Rica when she was in her 20s, and she went there to finish her career. My mom's a nurse, so she decided to go there and study, right? And she took her family with her, her mom, her aunts, everybody, and she was in
Whole
charge.
family.
Yeah, whole family. She was in charge of them, and she was a great, very strong woman that decided to move to a whole different country. Then she met my dad a few years later, and they got married. My dad is from Costa Rica, so that's how I feel like my story started, because part of my family moved to Costa Rica. Then there was another part that moved to Venezuela, and one part moved to Guatemala. You know, the situation in Nicaragua back then was not the best. So a lot of
Right.
people had to leave the country to find better opportunities and safer places to be.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I feel like my kind of a nomad soul started to form right there. Just seeing the example that my mom said, that you don't have to stay in one place, you can just go anywhere you want and start over as many times as you need.
Right. I like that. I like that idea, that quite often we grow up thinking that, or being told we have to make a decision when we're young. At school, we're being forced into making decisions as to what career we want to have, and what path we want to take, and where we're going to live, and how we're going to live as we go through university. But I think that was really key what you said. You can start over whenever you like, and you don't have to stay fixed to the program that or the journey you started on.
Right.
So I certainly have done that a number of times in my life. That's great. Okay, so take us a step further forward.
You know what? Once I read this quote, I really caught my attention, and it said, if you don't like where you are, just move, right? You're not a tree. So you're always free to move and just do something different. And that stayed with me. Like, yes, we're not trees, we can move. And the world is so big, and there are so many opportunities and so many places to see, that I always felt like I needed to find a place in the world where I felt 100% like I belong there. And,
Yeah.
for some reason, I always had the urge to go and see other places and explore other cultures. So basically, that's when I thought, okay, well, maybe I should just travel a little bit. After I finished high school, I decided to take a break from studying for a bit. I started working when I was 19 years old, and I was very independent from the beginning.
Mm.
So I decided to just try things, try different places, and go see, different experiences. So after that, well, I started working. I lived in San Diego for a while in California. It was nice. I mean, the place was beautiful. So I learned a lot from that experience. It wasn't the easiest experience I've had,
Okay.
but it was a good experience to learn and to grow. Then I went back to Costa Rica, kept working, saving money, and then one day I lost my job, right? And I was kind of depressed. I was like, oh God, I know, what am I gonna do? I started doing other things that I didn't really like. And I was like, oh, I don't wanna do this. Like, I don't wanna do something that I hate, it
Right.
was making me very unhappy. And
What kind of work was it that you were doing
like
before?
telemarketing and
Okay.
customer service and stuff like that. I was like, no,
Yeah.
this is crap. I hated
It's
it. People were so rude.
it's so hard. It's
It
such a
was
hard job. Right.
horrible.
Right.
Yeah, like they're always yelling at you, and they're so rude. So I just like I cannot take that bad energy
All
8
right.
hours a day, right? So somebody said, why don't we go to the beach? Just move there, start over. And I did. I told my parents, hey, you know what? I'm tired of this city. I need to take a break from it and see what else is out there. And in Costa Rica, we have two coasts, right? The Pacific coast and the Caribbean coast.
Sure.
So I decided to go to the Caribbean coast of Costa Rica, which is, in my opinion, the most beautiful place in the country. And I just went there. I packed everything I had and decided to go there, not knowing what to do or if I was going to get a job or anything. I just had a little bit of money saved up. And we had a house. Well, not really a house, a room that we had seen before. We rented a room. And then I was living there,
Right.
at the beach, this beautiful place. So I started going to hotels and taking my resume to hotels and say, hey, you know what? I'm looking for a job. I've never worked in a hotel, but I can learn. I can learn anything. If you teach me, I'll learn anything, right? Um, so I found a place, and the owner was an older guy. He was very nice, very polite, very educated older man, and he gave me a job. And he said, okay, well, I'm looking for a receptionist, and I need somebody to actually also take care of the restaurant and the bar. So basically, you're going to do everything. I don't want to do
Right.
anything.
I know you've never done it before, but don't
No,
worry. Here
never.
you are. Do everything.
Yeah, so I said, okay, well, if he's trusting me, he thinks that I can do it, then I can probably do it. And he was gonna
Right.
teach me, right? He started teaching me so much. I appreciate it, to this point of my life, because he was a very kind person. He gave me a chance. He believed in me, and
Yeah.
he taught me. He taught me a lot. So I was in charge of reception, reservations, tours, the bar, inventory. I was even waitressing. I was doing everything. I was working so many hours a day. I was really tiring. So I worked there for a few months, and then after like maybe a year or so, we decided to start a business there. Like, well, we found a house, yes, and we said, well, this house had a beautiful, huge garden. It was amazing in the middle of the jungle, right? And say, well, why don't we open a restaurant here?
Of course.
Yeah, of course, right? So at this point, I was with my ex, right? And
Uh-huh.
he was great cooking, and I was just willing to do whatever. I was young, and say, okay, well, we can do it, and we did. We started our first restaurant at the beach, a pizza place in our home.
Mhm.
Very nice experience. After a year or so, we opened the second place at a hostel. So we had two businesses going on there. A lot of work, but it's the beach. Living at the beach is something completely different. There's a different energy. People take it slower, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then after a while I said, okay, well, I've had enough of this. I need to go back to the city. I miss the city. We went back to the city, and we opened another restaurant there, which was the biggest one so far. Was great, beautiful place, great food, and I did that for 7 years.
Okay.
6 or 7 years. And then I decided I was not happy with that. So I was like, no, this is good, but I feel like I'm missing something. I need to do something else. I want to help people. I want to be involved in people. I want to see them grow, and I want to share something that is within me. And I decided to become an English teacher. So I started getting trained. I went to school. I studied really hard, and I became an English teacher after that, and that's what I've been doing since then.
You started teaching English. Tell me, what sort of teaching English in schools, in academies, in your home? How did that journey start?
First job I had was at this English academy near my house. It was kind of hard finding a job in the beginning, because I'm Costa Rican. I'm like a non-native teacher, so it was hard. I realized, I never thought about that until that point, that most places won't even give non-native teachers a chance.
Right.
They're focused on hiring only native speakers, and that's it. It's part of their marketing strategy. It's part of whatever their system. So many said no, 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 no. So after a while, I found a job, and I worked there for a few years. I learned a lot. I was teaching children and adults, and it was fun. I started to love what I was doing. It was very fulfilling, and I was very happy teaching. So I decided that's what I wanted to keep doing for the rest of my life, or at least until I feel like I need to do something else. But it's been 30 years.
until I change my mind again and feel I need to do something else. Yeah, which we do, which is life, right?
It might happen, but so far it's been 13 years and I still love teaching. I'm so happy doing it. I don't see myself doing anything else. I really love my job. I think it's a calling that I have, more than a career. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so at this stage, you're in Costa Rica.
Yeah, in Costa Rica. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you've walked away from the restaurants, and you've studied, gone back to school, learned to be a teacher, and you're now teaching.
Right. That's it.
Okay. And then what happens?
And then a lot of things happen. I don't want to make it too long, but Costa Rica just became not the place where I needed to be. I needed a change. Again, a lot of personal situations happened in the middle, and I had to stop working for a while, for like a year. Right, I had to quit my job, and when I was ready to go back to teaching, I had the same experience, like not being able to find the job that I wanted, because after being a teacher for a while, I said, okay, well, I want to find a job where I can grow, where I can learn more, because I that's what I love about every job that I've had in my life. It's also a learning experience.
Right.
And I felt like I needed a job where I could learn more and grow as a teacher.
Yeah. As much about the learning from the experience as teaching. While you're in the experience, right?
Exactly, right? So I was not finding that at that time. And again, the same situation. We only hire native speakers, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. I've had it with this negativity, with all the discrimination within my own country. I need to go somewhere else. And that's when I decided to come to Guatemala.
Okay, that's an interesting point. You touched on discrimination within your own country. that must be a weird feeling.
It's painful.
Being discriminated against in your own country.
Yeah, it was very painful. I didn't understand it, and I had so many feelings about it. I was angry, honestly. I
Right.
was angry. I'm like, what the hell? Why? Just not even giving me a chance to show what I can do. I think I'm a good teacher and I'm very professional and I love what I do, and just let me show you. Right?
Yeah.
And they so many times they said, no, it's against our policies. We only hire native speakers. The company, blah blah blah, the reputation. All right, so I was frustrated. By that time, I was with my now husband, and he said, well, he's from Guatemala, right?
Okay.
And he said, well, if we go to Guatemala, I'm sure it's going to be different there, and you're going to get a lot of opportunities. So I said, okay, well, let's give it a try. I started sending resumes and asking for interviews. So I did a lot of online interviews back then.
Yeah.
And I actually got very good responses from many schools. And I did like 3 final interviews before moving here, before we finally made the move. And when I came here, I basically already had a job waiting for me. So
Wow.
I couldn't be more grateful with this country that gave me a chance, and I'm not even from here, and
Yeah.
I started work when I came here. I started working teaching in high schools, private high schools,
Okay.
and that was another great learning opportunity, working with teenagers in a high school environment. I hadn't done that before, and it was wonderful, wonderful. I loved it. I learned, I grew, I enjoyed it, and it taught me so much, and it got me to where I am today. So thanks to that, I am here talking to you today.
Cool. Tell me something I'm interested in, because you're talking about countries that I have no idea about. More or less the part of the world, Central America. That's the idea that I've got.
Mm-hmm.
So give me and our listeners some sort of idea of the differences from those two countries, the differences in those two countries. I guess the main differences.
Main differences. Okay, so um, culturally, we are very different. Costa Rica is known for being more, easygoing kind of country. Like everybody's chilling. We have the
Okay.
Florida style. Um, Guatemala has been through so much. It's a country that has survived to so many difficult times. So
Yeah.
people here tend to be more structured, a little bit more reserved. Also, there is a huge mix here of indigenous populations with whatever we can call mixed. The mixed population, right? That got mixed with the Spaniards when colonization happened. So there's also that. We don't have that in Costa Rica. They have their own languages here that they speak, that the indigenous communities, their traditions, their beliefs. It's so rich when it comes to culture, and
Okay.
I think Costa Rica is more globalized.
Right. Okay.
Right. It's also much bigger. In Costa Rica, where it's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 million people. In Guatemala, it's about 17, 18 million. So, that makes a huge difference here. Socio-economical situation is different. So yes, I had to learn a lot. People here are very religious. Most of the Guatemalan population, is Catholic. We are Catholic in Costa Rica too, but here they follow the traditions even more. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm not a religious person, so I had to learn to deal with some of the beliefs and the traditions, right? Which was a little bit difficult. Obviously, that makes the Guatemalan society more conservative.
Yes.
So, all of these things that I was not expecting to find, because I was thinking, okay, well, we're very similar, but we're not. There are
Oh,
some
right.
differences. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. Both cultures are different, both countries. And I love Guatemala. I've learned a lot about their culture being here.
Okay, good, good. Because that's my ignorant self, not knowing anything about Central America, would say, well, there's a huge group of little countries in a little skinny bit of land in Central America, right? And they must be all relatively the same because they're all tiny. But what you're telling me is the complete opposite. You've come from Costa Rica, which sounds more like a much more modernized country where it's come, I don't know, and everyone's sort of, I don't know what I'm trying to say really, but yeah, a much more modern country. Whereas Guatemala is a country that's held on to a lot more of its traditions um, from religious traditions, but even all the way back to pre-colonization traditions
Yeah.
in terms of languages and cultures and socio groups. So that's really interesting. Really interesting information. I wouldn't have known. Mm.
Yeah, well, you need to come
Cool.
here and see it, because it's a beautiful country and it's so rich. The culture is, it's amazing. I really, I'm still learning so much about this country. I've been here for 8 years, and I'm still learning. Now I'm trying to learn more about the struggles that they have been through. And honestly, that makes me love it even more, and their people too.
Right. That's an interesting point too. No matter how long we think we've been in a place, there's always so much more to learn of the people. You
Yeah.
know, for people who have been in the place not just of their life, but of their families' lives, of their parents' lives, of their great, great, great grandparents' lives, their whole history. And it's a rich, deep heritage. And you can never learn that in a day, a week, month, or a bunch of years even. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's always so much
Yeah,
much to learn.
you need to live, you need to be part of it until you
Right.
slowly start becoming uh more like them,
Yeah.
because you can see it, you can hear it, you can smell it, you can touch it, it just becomes part of everything.
Right.
And
Right.
it's not possible when we stay in one place. And that, that's the beauty of, I think, being able to migrate, experiencing other cultures from within, and being able to understand why
Yeah.
some countries are the way they are, and why, people sometimes are so different to what we are. And we always see, oh yes, this culture, this tradition, this religion, this group of people, they're so different, and we see the differences. We don't
Yes.
understand why, and we need to understand why to be able to accept it and even
Understanding
love
those
it.
differences. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those differences usually come from, like I was saying, from a huge history of tradition and history and past things that have been passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's amazing. That's something that I experience where I am. It's in the people, but it's deeper than blood. It's in the smell of the land. It's in the smell of the food. It's in the sound of the music. It's in every little nuance of life. There is this land, this part of the country,
Yeah.
or this country. Yeah,
Even the
that's great.
food is different, in so many
Right,
aspects. I mean, there are so many things that are similar, but the flavors are different. They use different spices.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so their traditions, their eating habits are different. For example, people here in Guatemala eat tortillas 3 times a day. They love tortillas. It's not only part of their diet, it's part of their culture. Corn represents so much for this land. Corn is an essential part of the Guatemalan identity. Same with
Right.
Mexico, right? In Costa Rica, we,
Yeah.
of course, we do eat tortillas, but not like this. We eat rice a lot. We eat a lot of
Yeah. Okay.
rice. Yeah. So
And that's funny because when you say tortilla, you're talking about something completely different than when I say tortilla.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Not the potato tortilla, but the corn tortilla, right? Like it's like a pita bread. And yeah,
Right.
we don't really eat
Cool.
tortillas a lot. We eat them for some occasions, but rice is an essential part of Costa Rican diet. And
Yeah.
here, rice is like a, it's like a
It's
complement,
an
but
extra.
it's not always the main thing. So that was huge for me because in the beginning they would give me tortillas with everything. Like I don't want them. I don't eat them. But just take them, right? And they're like, no, no, but they're yours. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like, I want my rice. But
Amazing. Yeah.
now I love tortillas. I still don't eat them with every meal, but I really like them.
Okay, great. So you're acclimatizing.
Yeah, it's been 8 years. It's been 8 years. I think like I finally made it. I'm a legal permanent resident of Guatemala. I am
Yeah.
now um, considering to upgrade my status uh,
Okay.
to get some benefits and also maybe in the future be able to vote. I
Yeah.
want I want to vote. I want to have a voice, and I want to support this country as much as I can because it's my home now. And
Great.
so it's part of the future plans that I have here.
Great.
Hmm.
Okay, good. So Guatemala is now your home for the foreseeable future,
Yeah,
and you're teaching.
I am teaching, but now
Tell us a little. Tell us a little bit about your teaching.
okay. So like I mentioned before, I worked in private schools
Hmm.
for the first 5 years I was here. Great, I loved it. I loved my students and everything. But then with COVID, everything changed. The world changed.
Right.
Uh, I had to stop. It was not what I wanted it to be. I was not enjoying it as much with all the restrictions and the changes and just it was not the same. It didn't feel the same way
Hmm.
to me, and there was too much pressure, and it took away all the fun of teaching and being in the classroom with my students, which is what I enjoy the most. And I decided to take a break. I said, oh, my mental health needed to take a break from um, the let's say online high school teaching, right?
Yeah.
um, I decided to quit my job, but of course I needed to continue making an income and just paying my bills. So I said, well, what can I do now? We're stuck at home. Like there are no jobs out there. Like tourism stopped and so many things changed. I'm like, well, some people started asking me, why don't you tutor? Yeah, why don't you? Would you teach my son? Would you teach me? Would you teach
Yeah.
my my,
Yeah.
my friend online, but doing like one-on-one, like a slower pace? And I said, well, I can try. I can do that and see what's the worst that can happen, that I don't like it and I have to do something else. So
Right.
I started slowly doing private tutoring, and then I realized I missed that group energy because that's to me that's the best part of teaching, just being with a group of people and seeing them grow and sharing experiences and energy and everything with them. But at this point, of course, we still continue with restrictions, and I said, well, I'm gonna try and see if I can open a group to teach online and see how that works, because it was all new to me. I had not um, much experience with online teaching.
Right.
So I said, okay, well, I'm just gonna give it a try, like the restaurant thing. Let's just try and see what happens, right?
Figure it out as you go along.
That's me. And
Yeah.
so I did. I posted a Facebook ad or something, and I said, well, I'm teaching groups online. I had a group for teenagers and a group for adults, beginners, right? Like introduction to English. And people signed up, and that's how I started. And it's been 3 years since I began with the language circle, and I'm still here. And now we have more groups and more students, and it's growing every day. And now I'm really enjoying this part of being my own boss and just being able to decide how I teach, what I teach, and how I do things. So it's been wonderful. I'm really excited to see what's coming. It's been, 3 great years, very hard, a lot of work, but we're still here. So that means that we're doing something good.
Right. And being your own boss gives you the freedom to run your own schedule and pick up other projects
Like this.
um, which I certainly appreciate in my life. I imagine you appreciate yours too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
And so tell me, last, I want to know the language circle, because I love the name, but I want to know where it came from. What does it mean to you?
Okay. So it's kind of like a complicated story. When I was in Costa Rica and I was teaching there, I also had like a side project that was called the little classroom. Yeah, because I adapted a small classroom in my house and I was tutoring children, helping them with after school work, homework, exams, projects, all of that. Right. So it was the little classroom. I had my own little classroom there. And when we obviously came to Guatemala, that stopped. And when I decided, okay, well, like maybe I can do the online tutoring, it brought me back to that. Yes.
Right.
So we started as the little classroom online, right? But then I decided I didn't want to teach children because I don't really like the way that it works with children online. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah. Okay.
better to do it in person. My opinion, right? It's my
Yep.
personal opinion. So I said, I think I'm going to focus on adults and maybe teenagers, right? So I said, I think I got to change the name. It's not, it's not the right name for the students that I want to teach now. And I didn't want to make a huge change. So I decided to use the same letters. It's TLC, right? I was like, well, I'm going to start thinking of a name that I can use the same letters with. And I said, well, I want to make a circle of people. I want to create a circle of people that are together. I think the circle represents so many things. It's unity, it's equality, it's energy, it's so many things that just a simple shape uh, can 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 show. So I said, well, I think I want to have a circle of people that want to learn a language. Yeah. And so that's how it became the language circle.
It's beautiful. I love the idea that of language creating a circle, language connecting, one person or one group of people to another, and creating this circle of people and this unity. So that's beautiful. Yeah, very good. And what does the future hold? Do you have any plans for the future?
Well, right now I'm just trying to make my project grow and get to other people outside of Guatemala. So right now I have students in different countries.
Okay.
Yeah, I have students in Puerto Rico, in Costa Rica, in Guatemala, in United States, Peru. So I'm trying to reach more people. I'm focusing on Latin Americans that want to learn English, and help them with my, Spanish background to overcome the difficulties and to make the process a lot easier. And that's my hope, to maybe get to different nationalities, different countries, and make this grow. And I don't know what will happen in the future. Maybe do courses, like, so people can take by themselves, or I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to enjoy each day and focus on my students, the ones that I currently have, and help them with their learning, and just having fun watching them grow and become, more fluent every day. So
yeah, great. I think that's really important. And what you talked about, helping people from Central America. because you've got the experience that they need. You've gone through the journey that they're on. You've been down that road that they're on right now. You've then worked in the language, which is perhaps something that they might be aiming for in the future. You've traveled in the language, which is something that they might be aiming for. So I love the idea that you've done what they're wanting to do, puts you in the best position to help them. And I know a lot of schools say, oh, we want native teachers only, but actually you're the best example one of those students could possibly have, and can teach them so much more than any native teacher could, because they will not have had gone through those experiences that you had.
Yeah, I wanna show my students that if I can do it, they can do it. It's
Right.
anybody can do it. So many people have personal struggles with English, and I understand why. I know what it's like to be, made fun of for having an accent, and humiliated for saying something incorrectly, and just I understand those struggles, and I know that it takes time and effort, and being called an illegal alien when you go to a different country, and it's not fun. Now that if you think about it, when you're right there, and that's how many people have to deal with this situation. They have
Yeah.
to go to different country, learn a language that is not their own just because they have to. They really don't have a choice. And then on top of that, they need to deal with discrimination and prejudice and all these negative things that humans do. And I want to show them that it is possible to learn a language, speak it fluently, and if you even want to go further, you can go ahead and teach it if that's what you want,
Right.
because that's what I'm doing. And anybody.
Right. If you want to take it to the extreme, you can then teach it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Thank you very much. Love your story, and I'm sure there's lots more. But I know that we will find out the little bits and pieces as we go along over the course of the years, hopefully, through these sessions.
Of course, and I'm looking forward to learning about your story and our guest stories.
Yes.
And so many beautiful people that we're going to have here join us. That's
Exactly.
why it's so important that people, subscribe to the channel so that they get to know these wonderful people too, and share their own stories with us. Because what we want is just unite this world of people that are going here and there and traveling and doing so many wonderful things, right? So like we did, a lot of people are doing the same. So let's share.
Yeah, whether it's a small migration or whether you've traveled around the world, it's not important. I think the value here is in that journey.
Exactly.
And it might seem small to one person, but to others it might seem enormous. So we're really looking forward to interviewing and talking to people who have been on big journeys and who've been on small journeys. I know we've got a couple of really interesting ladies lined up in the next couple of weeks as well that are coming. So I can't wait to hear their stories.
Yeah.
And next week, I'll tell you a little bit about mine.
Yes, looking forward to it. And I hope that people enjoyed this, and whatever, just leave a comment. Or if you're watching this, tell us where you're watching from. It would be nice to get to know you a little bit more, right?
Yeah, exactly. Please do leave a comment in the comments, and ask us any questions you like in the comments, and hopefully we can help.
Yeah. All right, Daniel.
Perfect.
So
All righty.
see you next week.
See you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.